We are now live. Way you go, Warren.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. This is Warren Connolly coming to you from a beautiful Hungary in Central Europe at 12 o'clock. And my co-presenter for the day is, as is normally the co-presenter.
And I am in the same house, but I'm downstairs and you're upstairs.
Correct.
Last time we're both in Hungary, but I'm from London. Oh, that's where I'm from originally. And where I'll be going back to in a few hours. So today's thing that we're doing, our Facebook Live, is about, is your current lifestyle sustainable? Now, let me ask you a question, Warren. Do we all need to take charge of our own future health state starting today?
That's a rhetorical question, right?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I still want you to answer it, although I know the answer.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Why?
Because then we know what for certainty, or at least with some idea as to how we can correct our health if we need to correct our health. So by taking charge, we then find out the information that is relevant to us individually, specifically, and enables us to take the relative course of action to overcome.
Okay. So we've spoken about health status before. Now, we want people to think about their own personal health status. Do you know what that means, health status?
Me personally, yeah, it's where's your body? Look, where's your body sitting? What is the health of your body, the condition of the state of your body based on different factors, right? Yeah. So, and those factors could be your blood sugar levels, could be your omega-3 ratio, could be your fitness levels, it could be your heart, strength of your heart, a number of things. Yeah, so that's your health status, really.
So really, where you actually are at this present moment.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, most people know their own lifestyles, and they've got a fairly good idea and understanding of where they are. Obviously, there are a few things we don't know, and you know, one of those things would be how healthy we are.
Mm-hmm.
We may feel great. You may be doing a lot of the right things. How can we check to see if we're healthy or not?
Testing. Testing, simple. There's a variety of different tests out there, right, that we can use to check for ourselves.
Yeah.
And testing is the scientific way to do it. You know, so with testing, you have, and I'm talking about blood testing here in particular. So let's say, for example, you're going to check your fitness levels, your ability to perform a range of exercises and movements and move your body and things like that. You're going to do testing for that. It may not necessarily be scientific in its application specifically, but if you're going to test for your overall health and your overall well-being, then you want to go along the lines of scientific testing, which is invariably blood testing in essence. Not exclusively, but yeah.
So what do most people do? Generally, you know, in their life, do they test or do they just guess or just hope for the best?
Yeah, I think most people will guess what's going on in their lives. They will try to feel if they're healthy or not. Now, this is the question that, you know, you and I both ask people. You know, where would you say that do you think that you're healthy or not? And most people say, yeah, I think I'm fairly healthy. Yeah. You know, and we ask, like, how do you know? Oh, no, because I went to the doctor last year and I had a general health checkup and stuff like that. Okay. And then I feel good. But they don't actually know for certain. They don't know with certainty where their health status is. Because even when they go to the doctors for checkups, most of the time it's a general checkup. It doesn't really highlight or pinpoint specific measurements, specific aspects of data that is required in order for us to really know whether we are healthy or not.
Yeah, but as an example, my daughter, I think once a year, she goes and has all these loads of myriad of tests and everything, and finds out exactly where she is with things that are good for us, things that are bad for her, where she is, and the blood count and everything. Now, can the average person afford that? Because I know from what she said, it's very expensive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. No, there are, and I don't care where you are. I don't think the average individual can afford it, unless they've got a very good
on those type of prices where you go and see one person and they've got about 300 tests there that they do, or take blood from you, and basically it costs money. There's no way around it, is there? Because the only time we normally find out about how well we are or not is when we have a little symptom or a few symptoms. We go along to the doctor, they say, oh, it could be so and so. They send you along, have a blood test, and then they have you back in to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and most of us don't do that. Most of us, and I can count myself over previous years where you grin and bear it. It'll be all right in the morning, you know, and we ignore symptoms
all the time.
Yeah,
we really do all the time. But even so, Paul, who really wants to go and have a barrage of tests done on them? How many people really want to have a barrage of tests? And when I say no, I mean the majority of people, they can't be bothered, you know, to go have all these tests done on them, and they've got to have a mask on their face, and they've got to get in a treadmill, and they've got to run for X amount of time, and then they've got to get this blood test, that blood test done, the stool test, and all these kinds of things. Not many people want to have to go through that, even if they can afford it. Yeah, but for the majority of people, they can afford testing, and if you get very simple basic tests done for yourself, 2 or 3 tests, you can really find out pretty much everything you really need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, there's a couple of key factors that determine whether we are healthy inside or not, internally or not. And you know, we've spoken about one of them at length over the last couple of years, and that is chronic inflammation. If you know whether your body is struggling with chronic inflammation or not, you know that there's a very clear the information is very clear for you, and on top of that, you know what you can or need to do in order to overcome that chronic inflammation. All right. The other one is vitamin D. You know, not having enough vitamin D in the body causes a myriad of ailments and conditions that could lead to a lot more at the end of the day. And then the third one is to do with what we're talking about today, you know, in terms of how our lifestyle can be changed through very simple steps. And I'll let you get started into that, but it doesn't need to be complicated. It can be very simple. It really can. It doesn't have to be a complicated
and that's thing to do. I think for me, it's just about making the effort to do it, finding out a little bit about yourself. You haven't got to go berserk. But I think one of the best things for me was that when I spoke to my daughter, and I said to her, how much did that cost? And I'm sure it was over £400. And I went, I don't know about I want to pay that, you know. But we have an answer to that. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But
an alternative to that, yeah.
A cheaper alternative, yes, that is extremely effective. However, you know, I speak to people all the time, and you speak to them, and they say, "I feel okay. I feel good. You know, it must be healthy because I feel okay." You know, and that sometimes isn't the truth. You know, sometimes we have to ask the question: Are we really okay? Can I leave it alone for another 5 years? You know, and things change over time. You don't know what's going on in your body. Even if you have a really healthy diet, we don't know whether that good healthy diet is actually being sucked into the bloodstream. because obviously sometimes you can have leaky gut, you can have malnutrition through not being able to absorb the nutrients. So unless we do something about that, unless we find out a little bit about ourselves, we're never going to know.
Mm-hmm.
So
we need to open up that window that looks inside of us, and we need to explore that window of opportunity to see what's going on inside our bodies. It's important we do. People don't often want to see people don't want to often see what's going on inside of them, because they have predetermined ideas in their head about, oh, my grandfather and my father had heart attacks. Well, I don't want to get myself tested because I know I'm going to die of a heart attack one day. Or my mother had diabetes, so I'm overweight, I most likely got diabetes. These things, people resign themselves to an outcome that is it can be changed like that, but because people are too scared to actually have a look inside. Not everybody is, but many people they're too scared to have a look what's going on inside their body. So they just go by, I feel fine. So long as I feel fine, I'm okay. Yeah.
Okay. So just so people understand, we spoke about vitamin D. What was that thing you said to me earlier before we started about vitamin D? I
was going to get to that a little bit later, but
okay. We'll get to it later.
That's fine. It's fine, because I wanted to get it. I wanted to put it in relation to the context of what we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to just jump straight to it now. Okay.
Yeah, let's go. Jump to it, and then you can tell us a bit about vitamin D then.
Exactly. So any of us that hasn't been living in a cave under a rock for a number of years knows that the Western diet is not the healthiest diet that we could be living with, all right, or practicing. There's way too many red meats that people are consuming, excess amounts of, for example, egg.
We've
You're back.
You're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, we haven't got the picture. We've got the speech back. We haven't got the
picture.
Picture.
That's fine. You know what I look like. But basically, the Western diet, as most of us should know by now, is not a healthy, what we would gauge as being a healthy diet. All right. Is just too much processed stuff involved, too much sugar involved, too many just things that our ancestors wouldn't recognize. And even in so much as some of the foods that we might consider to be healthy or relatively healthy, like eggs and meat and stuff like that, people are consuming too much of it. All right. And coffee is another one as well. I love coffee. I drink maybe 2, maximum 3 cups of coffee a day, but that's my max. I know that's my max. If I drink more than that, I don't really enjoy it anymore, because I'm not feeling so great in terms of my energy levels and whatnot. So many people will drink 4, 5, 6 cups of coffee a day, no problem. And these are this is the issue here. So when you're talking about lifestyle and how is your lifestyle conducive to being sustainable, can we sustain that lifestyle that we currently living today? Again, the majority of people that I see, not just personally, but I see around me everywhere, no. I went to go pick up Paul from the airport last week, and I said to Paul, I was sitting at the airport terminal waiting, and the average individual that came past me, just by looking at them, I could tell that they were sick. Some part of their body was sick. All right. And if you look around you, just pay attention to people that you see walking around you in the streets, unless of course you live on in the beaches of California or South Africa, where I'm from. Australia, you might see probably more on average healthier, fitter looking people than elsewhere, but that's far and few between. So what we wanted to talk about today is the concept of pre-diabetes and why probably the majority of the population today is pre-diabetic.
Yeah.
Okay. And what does that look like, and what does it mean? So this is something from Nature article. You can go have a look. And Nature is it's a well-recognized, peer-reviewed platform for science research papers and things like that. And according to the International Diabetes Federation, they reported that around approximately 350 million people are pre-diabetic. Okay. And people with pre-diabetes have a high risk of developing full-blown diabetes, type 2 diabetes. And then on top of that, 70 to 90% of individuals will develop diabetes. So not only do they have a high predisposition to developing, but 70 to 90% of those 350 people that are pre-diabetic will develop diabetes. Okay.
So there's a Diabetes Academy then, is it?
Yeah, the International Federation for Diabetics. Yeah. I don't know about the academy, but there's a federation. Yeah. Because I mean, diabetes is a pandemic.
Yeah.
It really is. The amount of people that are diabetic in the world today it's absurd. It really is. And if you think 350 million people, that's just to people that haven't slipped through the system. So you're looking at an approximate figure, all right, of 350 million people that are pre-diabetic. And I'm pretty certain that there's a lot, that number's probably significantly higher, because if I just look at people walking around, in anywhere you see on the news, on TV, whatever, and people are walking around me, so many of those people are more likely pre-diabetic than not. Okay, and especially if they're living off a Western diet. Okay, the health. Now, what can reduce pre-diabetes? Okay, so first of all, a healthier diet, of course. That's going to be your first thing. Then on top of that, you could be looking at exercising and then testing yourself as well, so that you know what you need to do in order to overcome that pre-diabetic state that you're in, or condition, before it becomes full-blown diabetes. So just by living with a healthier diet can reduce your risk from progressing from pre-diabetic to diabetic by 40 to 70%, just by changing your eating habits. Okay. Among people with pre-diabetics who change their diet, 40.5% achieve normal glucose tolerance. All right, so that's your blood sugar levels tolerance. Okay. They had their fasting plasma glucose were level as well. So in other words, when you're fasting, when you haven't been eating, your glucose levels are stabilized, they're normalized. Okay. Your body mass index and your glycated hemoglobin levels and blood pressure all decrease significantly when people just change their eating habits. Okay. And I want you to remember that word, glycated hemoglobin, or two words, right? Because we're going to be covering this a bit, and because it's quite an important factor to bear in mind. And basically, what is glycated hemoglobin? It's a form of hemoglobin. Now, hemoglobin are those red blood cells that carry oxygen to the cells in the body. All right. So the glycated hemoglobin are those red blood cells that is chemically linked to sugar. So they spontaneously bond to things like galactose, glucose, and fructose, and that's when it's present in the bloodstream. So that sticks around. That doesn't go anywhere, and this raises our blood sugar levels, which impacts our insulin levels, and then there's a myriad of chemical reactions that happen as a result of all of that going on. Okay, and so yeah, this is basically, in order for us to change our lifestyles, we need to look at what is the long-term glucose impact that our food and our lifestyle is having on our bodies. So let me rephrase it. What is our lifestyle habits? What impact is that having on our long-term glucose levels in our body? Because to have your sugar spike once or twice in a while is not so significant. But if your blood glucose levels is raised on a more permanent long-term level, or at levels that are considered to be on a diabetic or pre-diabetic level, then your health is only going to get worse. Okay, and then this is going to also, either if you don't already have chronic levels of chronic inflammation, that's going to raise the chronic inflammation in your body, and it's going to cause a number of other factors to occur, where your body's not it's not excreting the hormones that it should be excreting, in order to keep your stress levels low, your anxiety levels low, and then your ability to function just on a day-to-day basis is compromised because of extended blood sugar levels in your body, or raised blood sugar levels in your body.
Definitely. I mean, look, there is, as you mentioned, there is good news on the horizon, and that is you can do something about it. Now, you can do it yourself if you want, and good luck to you. Wish you all the luck in the world with that. But what we find is that habits let us down. These habits are ingrained over many, many years. And we go back to the way we are used to doing. We might have a good couple of weeks and then it all goes haywire. So just maybe you need a guide, and it could be for a short space of time. Now, that's what we do. We guide people on a healthy lifestyle, with the diet and obviously the whole lifestyle itself, and again, you mentioned stress. Stress is a biggie, because if you're suffering from stress, it could be anything, couldn't it? You tend to do more of the bad things, so if you're, I don't know, maybe you've lost a partner or something else, and you're used to having a couple of glasses of wine a day, but now it may be the bottle, or it could be you like comfort foods and you're stuffing yourself full of what the Americans call candy, what we in the UK just call chocolate, not the good stuff, the real bad stuff that I love. But I have cut down, by the way. But to virtually nothing. But what I'm saying is you can do something about it, but we all tend to veer back to what we used to. Yeah. And that is probably where you need the guide. Now,
because we don't give ourselves enough time and credit, and we don't honor ourselves and respect ourselves enough to be patient and
to
create the necessary habits that help us to go down a certain path that helps ourselves and our bodies to heal and recover, and for our wellness just to improve. People don't respect themselves and honor themselves enough.
I mean, who's at risk here? And I would basically say everyone. But obviously there are people that are more at risk, because we don't know what each individual person does or what they consume. But especially people over 45.
Well, I want to. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
Oh, yeah, no, go on. I was just gonna say, and I'm not going to say any more than that about age and things like that. But just think about people being overweight. Think about a beach. Okay, now you mentioned it earlier, and yes, you see all the youngsters running about, and they look fantastic, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
But that does not necessarily tell the whole story.
Of course not.
And that's the challenge we have. We look at some people and we go, and we heard it during the pandemic where people said, well, he was really healthy. He was out there running every day and whatever, and that's fine. But there's a lot more to it than that. When we use the word lifestyle covers it all.
Everything.
That's
what lifestyle is, really. It's not a nice catchy term or catchphrase.
It's no good running marathons and things like that if you're out at the weekend also having 10 pints of beer. I know, because I've done it. They don't work. Something's going to go wrong, and especially when you're drinking alcohol. We spoke about diabetics and that, and really affects insulin, and it gets the pancreas working overtime, produces a lot more insulin, and everything's unbalanced. And this is where most of us are. We're unbalanced.
Uh-huh.
in every area of the body. And what we're looking at is long term. The word long term, that should be important for you, because you know your habits. You've got to get it right long term. Doesn't say you can't have a little cheat and little bad days here and there, but what it will be based on will be how consistent are you with with a good diet and a great lifestyle. Yeah. If you're exercising, you're going to be exercising 4 or 5 days a week, not 1 or 2.
I mean, you could be exercising every single day, because if you think about it like this, and you're right, not just 1 or 2 days a week, because if you're exercising, unless you're an ultra marathon runner or an Ironman athlete, or a professional athlete of some kind, you're going to be exercising for like an hour a day.
Yeah.
Really, and again, unless you're somebody that is working physical, doing a lot of physical work, like a landscape architect or gardener, or working in construction or that kind of anything like that, or like a personal trainer, where you're doing a lot of physical work on regularly throughout your days, you're not moving a hell of a lot. So the average person could easily exercise every single day, but it doesn't need to be an hour to 2 hours or whatever. It could be 20 minutes, could be half an hour. But doing that is going to significantly change the way your body's ability to regulate its sugar levels is impacted. There's another simple one there. I'm gonna give some numbers in a moment as well, Paul,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
the levels of your hemoglobin levels, your glycated hemoglobin levels, that impact your health, whether you're pre-diabetic or diabetic or whatnot, or healthy.
The key is your habits, as I mentioned, but also is the fact that most bad stuff remains undetected until it's maybe too late. Maybe too late. We're not saying it, we don't know until we know exactly what it is. We don't know, but there's nothing worse, is there? You think you're okay. You think you're fine. You're walking about doing your bit, and actually your health is going downwards, and you don't even know it. And the only time you'll find out is when you're seriously sick, or you feel sick, and then you go to the doctor, and there we are. We're in reactive mode, and we're behind the game line. So what we're suggesting is you get in front of the game line, or on the game line, always thinking about it, always preventing, being proactive. This is where, you can win. Would you agree with that?
You cut out a little bit at the end. I could hear you mumbling downstairs, but I couldn't hear you on the microphone yet.
All right. What I said was you've got to remain on the game line. You've got to be looking at preventing rather than reacting. You've got to be
obviously any aspect of life, right? Yeah. Any aspect of life, Paul. It's about responding to a situation and preventing things from happening rather than having to react to them. Because and it's also, again, because people have become so conditioned to desire and have the drive and the need for short-term gratification, it's very difficult for people to analyze themselves in that way, to want to analyze themselves in that way. I'm bringing up again because it's become part of the human conditioning. It's become a part of society that we just don't value ourselves enough. And if you just do the simple things without being anal retentive about it, you just got to be conscious of what it is and then implement these habits into your life. It could be step by step, one at a time, however that needs to look for you as an individual. Some people would take it all on board once, and then 3 months later they're like they end up in a hospital because they've gone overboard. So for the opposite effect has happened, because some people are like that. But if you're that type of person that wants to take everything on board at once, it's important, again, that you have somebody there to guide you, somebody that's there to coach you through that process. Because if you are the type of person that is a real go-getter, that you just want to get things done now, don't tell me 1, 2, 3, 4, just give me everything together and let me do it. You still want somebody to be there to guide you, because it needs to be managed. It needs to be handled with some level of temperament, rather than just gung-ho, you understand, going for hell for leather with everything at once. And then you got the flip side of the coin, where other people are like, yeah, I'll try this one out. And then two days later, it's like, I don't feel any different. It's not working for me, And I have a customer, for example, a nutritional customer that has been using a product, and after using it a couple of times said to me, I don't feel any difference. I'm like, well, you're not going to feel a significant difference after using it for a few times. It's nutrition. It's going to take time for it to work on your body, and this is why I emphasize it, because this is how people typically will think. Not everybody, but typically people have become conditioned to think that way. So be conscious of what your health could look like or should look like, and then get yourself tested once. You don't have to have tests every 2 months or every 3 months. Just get yourself tested once. Maybe get yourself tested again a few months later, 6 months down the line, 4 months down the line, whatever. And then you will know what's actually going on in your body. And then you can kind of just take it from there. And again, if you have someone to guide you through the process, then you're going to learn much faster. The habits are going to be instilled inside of you much quicker. If anybody's ever had a mentor or like a boss that took you underneath their wing and they showed you every single day what you need to do, you learned like this quick, and you got things done much more efficiently and proficiently, rather than having to like try to guess what to do for a year and not get things right. And then you lose patience and you lose motivation and so forth, and then you wasted X amount of money and time. Get it done correctly the first time around. It doesn't have to be complicated, but get it done in the right manner, in the right way.
Yeah. I mean, look, Warren, myself, and I'm going to read this because I want to make sure I get it right. Okay. We offer a lifestyle change program. Sounds very flashy, sounds very expensive, but it's not. Okay. And it's voluntary as well. People can do what they want. We can chat to someone for half an hour, and you can see if it's for you or not. Okay. And we can go talk you through everything. And again, we can help make those changes, those habits stick. Through the program, you can lower your risk of developing type 2 diabetes. You'll learn if you're pre-diabetic as well, which is important. You get to work with us as trainers, and we make realistic, lasting lifestyle changes. We've done it with ourselves, so it's not as if we haven't done it already. You'll discover how to eat healthy if you don't already, and how to add the physical activity into your day that fits into your day, that's reasonable for you. Okay, that's important as well. It's like we were speaking to a fellow over the park today, weren't we?
Yeah.
And he was saying, you asked him how his running was going, didn't you? What did he say?
Yeah. I won't repeat the word that he started off with, but if it started with some effing boring.
Yeah. Oh, something. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was not the first time he said that to me as well. Yeah.
I would say, well, don't do it then.
Well, that's why I had a nice analogy for him to stew on for a bit. Look. In days gone by, you could say, "Hey, look, I'm ignorant," and things like that. But there is no real need to be that ignorant where you can't change what you're doing. There's so many tools out there for us to be able to have access to, and so many different platforms. And if you have any inclination towards understanding what your health looks like, start finding out and doing your own research into how you might be able to gauge whether your body is healthy or not. I've been in this industry for more than 22 years. You want to find somebody that has been through the ringer, so to speak, so that you can cut out a lot of wasted time and effort and money. So find somebody that has an understanding, has some clue better than you, and it doesn't have to be a professor or a master at anything. It can just be somebody that has experience in the knowledge that you don't have, or you don't have necessarily, you may not have access to certain amounts of information and knowledge. But go look for somebody, find somebody that is going to be able to provide those tools for you, and at least address that with somebody else initially, because that might give you some insights and ideas and inspiration to take another avenue that you never considered in the beginning. You know, it's rather than do nothing about it.
Yeah. Going back to the program, we're like this. We shoot back and forth. We'll teach you how to manage stress, because that's another very, very important factor, like exercises. We'll teach you how to stay motivated, so you're aiming towards your goal, what you want from the program. Obviously, we'll teach you how to solve problems and how to, which could slow your progress, and that's very, very important. And you get support, which is even better, you know. And how do we do it? Well, we start off with a test. Can you tell them about the test, Warren?
Yeah, so the test is linked directly to the glycated hemoglobin, all right, levels in your body. So it's called the HbA1c, all right, test. And you can get them from different places. It's not a unique test, but we provide it, and we provide it from the comfort of your home. So you don't have to go to a doctor, you don't have to go to a clinic, you don't have to make an appointment anywhere. You can order this test directly through us, and then it gets sent to your home, and then we do it with you in person, whether we're there or on Zoom or something like that. But we show you, guide you how to do it, and then your tests are anonymous. So there's no data linked to your tests other than perhaps your age, your sex, and what country you live in. But other than that, nobody knows that it's Warren Connolly or Paul Bursey. No, it's completely anonymous. And I know that this is becoming more of a significant player in the marketplace in terms of testing these days is anonymity. So that's significant. But with the HbA1c test, it's going to measure your blood sugar levels over the past 3 months, long-term blood glucose levels over a 3-month period. Now, as I said, you can get this test done in different locations. But the good thing with us is you're going to have, regardless, you're going to have that lifestyle assessment. You're going to have the guidelines and additional tools that you can take away with you, so that once you're reading, you know what you're reading is, you will have a very good idea as to what steps you can take from day one and so forth for the rest of your life if need be. But at least you're having that guideline, and you're having those tools given to you as part of doing the test, as opposed to doing the test and then not knowing and just sucking your thumb, hoping that the answer is going to come to you. All right, or the solution for that matter. So the thing is that it's not just what your food intake is doing to determine your HbA1c levels or your glycated hemoglobin levels, but it's also your age as well. All right. So for example, like, okay, if somebody's got a normal level, all right, their level is going to be between 4 to 5.6%. Okay, that may not necessarily mean anything to you right now, but if you're pre-diabetic, it's 5.7 to 6.4%, and if you're diabetic, it's 6.5% and up. In different age brackets, it also has a significant role too. So if you're 20 to 39 years of age, the upper reference, in other words, those people that have got slightly higher, in other words, their diets are slightly higher in sugary intake, is around 6.0%. 40 to 59-year-olds, 6.1% on average, and plus 60 years old, 6.5%. Okay, so age does play a factor. And then the vitamin D thing that Paul mentioned as well was that results were higher in the study that was done with over 7,000 people. Results were higher in patients that were vitamin D deficient. So, you know, if anybody knows Paul and my work and our work, we also do vitamin D blood testing as well, and we provide the necessary nutritional product for that to help you to not to raise your vitamin D levels, but to keep your vitamin D levels regulated throughout the year on a safe level. All right. So people that are vitamin D deficient also have typically higher levels of glycated hemoglobin as well, which means that you're more predisposed to being pre-diabetic or diabetic in that sense. So yeah, and then look, just to give you some guidelines now, so you have an idea as to how we would work with you. Here's some little tips for you on what foods you could be introducing into your diet. So whether you're tested or not, start eating these foods, because they will help to reduce those long-term blood glucose levels in your blood, all right, or sugar levels in your blood. So things like beans and legumes, okay, oats, whole grains, and whole grain pasta and cereals, all right, flax seeds. But if you're going to eat flax seeds, make sure it's ground first, and something that I have either a combination of, or either 2 out of the 3 or 1 out of the 3 or all 3 in one day, and that's walnuts, almonds, and peanuts, and then fruits and veg. Yeah. And then foods that you want to avoid altogether, okay, sugary sweetened beverages. Yeah.
We've lost you, Warren.
Ah, okay.
Oh, you're back now. It's all right. That was such a quick one.
That was a quick one, fortunately. So let me start again. Foods to avoid: sugar sweetened beverages, trans fats, your white breads, pasta and rice, fruit flavored yogurt, sweetened breakfast cereals. Get those kids off those sweetened breakfast cereals, and flavored coffee drinks as well. Very high in sugars, that syrup and stuff. Yeah. So there's just a few tips for you: foods to start to introduce into your diet and foods to stay away from.
Now, the other thing about the test, as you mentioned, it's a dual thing. It's a test and a lifestyle change as well. Now, both go hand in hand. One without the other is useless. Trust me. Right? Then obviously the habits to go with it, and the changing what you eat and so on. But this is what the lifestyle assessment is going to do for you. And again, I'm going to read it because I want to get it 100% right so you understand. It enhances your understanding of yourself, your health status, as we mentioned, and also how your current lifestyle is shaping your future health. It's the future we're talking about here. Because as you get older, you know, we want people to sail through their old age, not be, you know, because you see so many people. I mean, I would suggest, you know, doing a bit of people watching. Go down to Starbucks, have the right thing. You've got to drink the right thing, but go down to Starbucks, go down to the UK, go down to Costa Coffee, sit outside, get yourself a drink and watch. Take a look at people and think how healthy each individual is as they walk past. Some people, as you know, they die at the age of 21, mentally, physically. They're waiting for their time to come. They're not got no ambition. Everything links. Okay, so just look at that and think: do I want to look like that? And I'm not saying be spiteful with people. I don't mean that at all. What I mean is for you to take it in and think: I need to do more. Maybe I need to do more, or I do enough, depending on who you are.
Be introspective as you look externally.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last thing about the lifestyle assessment, it will guide you towards a brighter and healthier lifestyle in years to come. And I think that, you know, and again, it's the longevity we're looking at here. We want the longevity to be good.
Yeah.
You know, when you're 80, we still want you to be bouncing about. You know,
we don't want people being dependent on anybody as they get older because of their age. Yeah, obviously, yes, there's going to be cases. Sure, people are going to get sick no matter what. Some people will. Yeah, okay. But if you can cut out your risk of getting sick as you get older, why not? You know. And if it's costing you on average what, a cup of coffee a day, why not?
Yeah.
You know. I
would say less than that.
That's my logic. Why not?
Well,
it just makes sense.
I think when I go in, when I used to go, when I go in Costa, what I spend money on is about £3.50.
Okay.
Okay. So we're talking maybe less than £1 a day.
Hmm.
That's not the test, by the way. We're talking about product here, which I think is really, really good. I mean, if you think that people in a day spend anything between £10 and £15 on cigarettes a day,
Yes.
it make me stop. Forget the health benefits. It'd make me stop the fact that I'm spending out £3,500 to £5,000 a year on cigarettes. That alone would put me off. You know. And you could get a season ticket at your football club and lots more. So, but look, at the end of the day, it's down to you. Okay, we can only make information available and help and guidance, and at the end of the day, you're the one that has to make a decision for you.
Of course, yeah. Each person needs to be accountable to their own decision making.
Yeah.
Of course.
So,
and just something, not a sidebar, but just something to add in essence. You spent like a week with me here now, okay? And having been here with me, seeing how I operate, seeing how I function. I mean, look what I've done in terms of my observations of you and your habits. Okay.
yeah.
Now, bearing in mind, Paul's not 21 anymore. All right. So
You can see how old I am.
I see his habits and how his lifestyle is. It could be tweaked and improved upon in some aspects of his lifestyle. All right, but we all can. But I'm highlighting this not to pinpoint on Paul, but even though Paul does what he does, he still needs somebody there to observe and see what he's doing from time to time. You know, we've been doing some stretching, right? Okay, outside in the park. And
I really struggle.
Yeah, and these are what I consider to be pretty basic stretches, nothing too complicated.
No, they weren't. They were basic stretches, and I just thought it was about posture, balance, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I've got a fighting chance to get it right. I know a lot of people haven't. You know, so yeah, it's all encompassing, and of course, when you get us as guides, you get all of that. So you know, that's up to you. There is no link to go to or anything like that at the moment. If you want us to assist you, guide you, or whatever, get in touch with us on Facebook, on here.
Yeah,
TV.
As we say, no information before conversation, right?
Absolutely.
And we want to know who you are before we know what we need to give you and what advice or what tools we need to impart upon you. So we need to have that conversation first. It's important.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's a type of thing you could go on forever. You could sit here all day talking about different things. But at the end of the day, we're looking for people who want to get healthier, less stressed, you know, and live a long, happy and healthy life. That's the people we want to work with, you know, and it could be you just got to tweak a few things. It could be you've got a whole list of things you've got to do. It really doesn't matter, you know. And but it's having that vision to look forward and say, I want to do better, and that's it, really. So take us out then, Warren. And
actually, I'm done. Thanks, Paul. You know, I think I've said what I feel I need to say, and you said what you need to say. And I think it's just up to whoever's listening and watching to this podcast to sit in that and stew for a little bit and just ask yourself an honest question. You know, ask yourself honest questions. You know, am I really healthy, and am I really doing what I need to do to make sure that I live a life of longevity and not suffering and pain and agony? But again, I want to highlight is that, you know, Paul and I are not perfect by any shape, form, or way. You know, we also have our own vices in life and our habits that are probably slightly not detrimental to our health, but don't aid our health in the way that it could do. All right. So we're all at fault to some extent, but we've got to become accountable for it. It's imperative. If you look at what's going on around you today, you can no longer depend on other people. You can no longer depend on the system per se, from what we know. It's time for you to start taking some charge of your own life and be accountable and put your hand up and say, hey, I need some help. Simple as that. Doesn't need to be anything more than I need some help. And then you have, a no strings attached, no obligation conversation with somebody, and see where it takes you from there.
Absolutely. So with that, please, if you found this useful, please share it, love it, whatever you need to do to help us in our journey. And whether this is on podcast, on YouTube, Rumble, or Facebook Live, Twitter, or whatever, share it and tell other people about it, because you may not be interested. You might think it's great, but not for me. But I know someone who may like it. Or
exactly.
Bouncing up and down on a gym ball, So I haven't got the gym ball yet. So yeah.
All right, everybody, have a fantastic remaining to your week.
Enough,
and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, lovely. Speak to you soon. Bye, everyone. Have a great week.